Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. It's Monday, February 8th. What do we got going on today? Well, right out of the gate, the Dow's up 200 points already. Record high. S&P 500, record high. NASDAQ, record high. We got market euphoria. Now, why do we have market euphoria? We all know the economy is at an all-time low, a record low. The U.S. economy, it's done. We're going into a depression, maybe even the Great Depression. But the stock market continues to rally. Why? Why the stimulus? That's all you hear. You hear it from Biden, you hear it from Yellen, you hear it from Fed Chairman Powell. Stimulus. And what else is going on today? Well, we got Bitcoin soaring, hitting a record high. Now, what's the exciting news on Bitcoin? Well, Tesla's buying at $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, do I think this is a smart move? I absolutely think it's a smart move. Now, it would have been smarter to buy it 2 weeks ago when it was below 30,000 instead of buying up here above 40,000. But 1.5 billion, I don't know. That's only $300 million difference between the 2-week time period. Heck, 300 million to Elon probably doesn't even notice when he's missing 300 million. But yes, I think it's a very smart move, and I think a lot of other companies are going to do it. They're going to start to go into Bitcoin. They're going to start to accept Bitcoin as payments. I can see Apple Computer doing this. Apple Computer has so much cash sitting on their books. And now, you know what cash pays when it's in the bank? Well, it's close to zero. You know what Bitcoin's going to do? It's going to double from here. Mark my words. Let's call it 40,000. It's going to hit 80,000. Isn't that crazy? It's going to double from here. So Tesla, they have $1.5 billion in it. They're going to make $1.5 billion more dollars. Now that they're probably going to make more money in Bitcoin than they actually do manufacturing cars. There's not much profit margin in cars. Very low, less than 5% profit margin making cars. Well, do I think Tesla's going to go up? Absolutely. Do you know why it's going to go up? Not because of the buying of Bitcoin. That's going to make it more profitable. That might actually scare out some of the more conservative investors. They might be going, whoa, Elon's going to the casino. He's throwing the money down. He's gambling with the money. It's going to scare some conservative investors out. But you know why Tesla's going to go up? I mean, Tesla's priced at ridiculous multiples. It makes, 500,000 cars a year, and it's priced at about $900 billion. General Motors, they make 2.5 million cars a year. 5 times as many as Tesla. But it's priced, $60 billion or so. I mean, the difference, the disparity, yes, Tesla's way overpriced, but it's going higher. Now, do you know why? I haven't told you why yet. It's not because of the Bitcoin. It's because of the stimulus. The stimulus checks are coming out. They're coming out. Biden's going to get a $1,400 stimulus check direct to your bank account. Now, what are you going to do with it? Well, you can leave it in your bank account. Yeah, you could do that. About 0% interest you leave in your bank account. Why not just put that money into Tesla? That's what a lot of people will be doing. Tesla will become $1 trillion company with this next round of stimulus. Now, that's not far from where it's at. Let's say Tesla, what's it trade at? $870 thereabout. It's going to $1,000 on this next round of stimulus checks. Okay, now I want you to be cautious up here. There's this market euphoria, not just in Bitcoin. Market euphoria is everywhere. Yes, Bitcoin's at record high, but we got market euphoria in the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000. They're all hitting record highs. Market euphoria. And what does this create? Well, it creates a bigger wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots, between the rich and the poor. This wealth gap has never been bigger except for before. Well, it's actually about the same as it was in the 1920s. Now, what was the 1920s? They were known as the Roaring 20s. Now, what was happening? Their stock market was going to all-time record high. Oh, but what happened in 1930s? Oh, 1930, we hit that Great Depression. Are we going to have a Great Depression again? I think we're going to have a greater depression than we did then because we're making the exact same mistakes because we got idiots running the Federal Reserve. They want to get the printing of money and they think that's going to solve all the problems. They think it's going to solve the wealth gap between the rich and the poor. It's not going to solve the wealth gap between the rich and the poor. It's going to increase it. The more stimulus they send out, the bigger the wealth gap. The more money they print, the bigger the wealth gap. But you know what's going to correct the wealth gap? The Great Depression that's coming. The Great Depression that's coming is going to melt all assets down. The inflationary pressures, the debt's going to be melted away. But assets of the financial, we're going to see a collapse. Just not yet. Do not short this market right now. You will get your butt handed to you. Do not short this market. I know we're due for a pullback, and we're probably going to get a little 5% drop, maybe even up to a 10% drop. That's perfectly normal. I'm telling you, we're going higher. We're going higher. And it's scary how high we're going. How high are we going? Tell me, Tall Mike, tell me. Well, we're going to at least 40,000 on the Dow. 40,000, we're at 31 right now. We're going to 40,000 on the Dow. Yeah, but be careful. Once it gets there, it's going to come crashing down. But we're going higher right here. The trend is still up. Until that trend changes direction, do not bet against it. Now, what about this wealth gap thing? This wealth gap, there's a lot of talk right now. I mean, Biden, he's going to raise the minimum wage to $15. I think it's around $7.50 nationwide minimum wage right now. He's going to double it. 15. Okay. Now, is that good or bad? Will that help the wealth gap? Well, people say, the hamburgers and french fries are going to go up at McDonald's if you raise the minimum wage to $15. Now, why does nobody talk about what the CEO's wage is? The CEO of McDonald's makes $8,600 an hour. Now, doesn't that make the french fries and the hamburgers go up? Maybe he should lower some of that and give some more to the employees. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong here. I'm just saying, look at it, $15 is good. Maybe $20 is better. Maybe $25 is even better, right? If it's good, let's keep doing it. I'm not sure it's good. I think that a lot of jobs will be lost. I think eventually you'll be able to go into McDonald's and the whole McDonald's will be run by robots. One person can run a whole McDonald's in the future. Now, won't that be weird? All those jobs will be lost, right? Everything's going to automation. I mean, soon we're not going to have any truck drivers because all the automatic driving cars, those jobs are going to be lost. Because, it's not going to be profitable to pay people $15 to $20 an hour when you can just hire a robot to do it, because you don't have to pay robots. You don't have to pay them any health insurance. You don't have to pay them any benefits. And the robot doesn't get tired. It can work 24/7. Our country's changing. The wealth gap's going to expand. It's going to expand a lot. I'm telling you, changing that minimum wage is not going to help the wealth gap. It's going to make a lot of people poor because they're going to be out of work because businesses cannot afford to pay that. Okay, so I'm not against paying people more money, but they got to become more productive to make the more money. They got to increase their skills, increase their worth to their employer. Yes, you can just magically wave that wand and let's just raise the minimum wage, $100 an hour. Let's make everybody rich. And on top of that, let's send stimulus checks. Not these $1,000, $2,000. Let's send $10,000, $20,000 a time to everybody in the U.S. and see how this works out. Now, granted, I'm being facetious here because it's not going to end well. This will not end well. No, it will not. Believe me, a lot of people are worried about this wealth gap. Let me tell you another statistic here. Do you know the top 1%, how much they make a year in income? They make over $1.3 million on average, the top 1%. Now, do you know how much the bottom 90% makes? Well, it's actually below $50,000. So you got $50,000, which it's really hard to live in the U.S. on $50,000 a year, especially if you have a family. What if you have, children? Oh my goodness, $50,000 a year doesn't go very far. But 1.3 million does. This wealth gap has gotten so extreme. It's gotten extreme because of the money printing. Stop printing money and get rid of the Federal Reserve and let the free market solve the problem. But nobody wants that. That would be painful. House prices would come down and people could afford them, but that would be painful for all the people that own a house, right? They don't want that. The stock market would come down and there would be price discovery. A lot of companies would go out of business because they shouldn't be in business anyways, because they're just not profitable. They don't have a good business plan. They're called zombie companies. They cannot even pay off the interest on their own debt, so they have to borrow more debt. But don't worry, the Federal Reserve will let the debt go. So the wealth gap that I'm talking about, you don't have to worry about that. The Great Depression that's coming, it's going to solve that problem. It's going to make everybody really poor, even the rich. Mark my words. Mark my words. Protect yourself. Get some gold and silver. You know, a lot of people laugh at me for that. You can get Bitcoin also. Bitcoin here, 43,000, 44,000. You can get some of that. Get out of the dollar. The dollar's going, they're just going to crush that dollar. They're just going to drop it like a rock. I'm telling you, you want to get out of the system. The system is broken and you want to get out of it. Elon's doing the right thing. He's getting into Bitcoin. He's taking his dollars that are going to zero and he's buying Bitcoin, which is like a spaceship to the moon. He's doing the right thing. He's going to make a lot of money doing it. Other companies are going to follow when they see what Elon's doing. Bitcoin's going higher. It's going to double from here. I know that's crazy, but it's just a fact. It's going higher, going to double. Stock market euphoria right now, but be careful. Wait for the pullback, buy the dips until the trend changes. But there's going to be a dip. Probably towards the end of this week would be my guess where we start to get that dip. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right. I'm Tall Mike. If you like this stuff, give me a thumbs up. It's Monday. If you really like it, hit that subscribe button. Don't just hit it. Go ahead and punch it. Anyways, we'll talk again real soon. I'm Tall Mike. Have a great day.